Hello Yu-Gi-Oh players and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0. Today, I want to finish up, well, I'm not going to finish it today, but I want to get into the final factor of my Finding Your Ideal Deck Type video series. If you guys haven't seen the rest of those videos, absolutely check them out. I will be putting up a playlist that should be done by the time this video is finished uploading of all the videos in that series that I have made so far. So today I want to talk specifically about playstyle. Now that seems like a really obvious part of deck type, and a lot of people actually use the two words interchangeably, deck type and playstyle. But when I talk about playstyle, I am specifically talking about the way that a deck flows, and that'll make sense in a second. So the two opposite ends of the spectrum, since like every other factor in this video series, deck type does, or playstyle does exist on a spectrum. The two opposite ends of the spectrum, in this case, being Toolbox and Utility. And I want to talk to you guys about Toolbox today. So, Toolbox is a word that is often thrown around having to do with decks. And Toolbox decks that are specifically called Toolbox, tend to be used as a deck focused around drawing resources, generally out of the deck, sometimes in the graveyard. So the conclusion that I've come to is my definition for Toolbox is a strategy which focuses on opening up all available resources. That means opening up your deck for resources and opening up your graveyard for resources. And hence the word Toolbox. It turns your deck and your graveyard into toolboxes. A toolbox strategy is focused on producing and flowing through new resources as opposed to utility, which focuses on using available or visible resources. Toolbox cards are cards that draw cards out of the deck by drawing, that do so via searching, via special summoning from the deck, using the graveyard by adding things from your graveyard to your hand, or special summoning cards from your graveyard, or sometimes your Banish Zone, very, very occasionally your Banish Zone. So Toolbox strategies tend to back up aggro or control strategies. There are a couple of Toolboxy stun strategies, but they're very, very rare. Actually, in fact, the most common deck types that you see in the meta are actually toolbox decks. For instance, Dragon Rulers are a famous toolbox deck. What they do is they use the graveyard as a toolbox, and the cards that they have in the graveyard that are available for use in toolboxing also create resources from the deck. So it uses all the toolbox stuff, including the Banish Zone. So a Dragon Ruler deck is a great example of a toolbox deck because it toolboxes all of those areas for resources. Other toolbox decks, gadgets, are basically exclusively toolboxing. They use gadgets to get more gadgets out of your deck, and then they overlay into your Gigant Cross, or into, what's it called? King Feral Imp, that one. And that gets other things out of your deck. So that's what toolbox strategies are. Toolbox decks tend to be considered more fun than utility decks. Mostly because, as humans, we like to have variety, as variety is the spice of life, and the more options you have from the deck into the graveyard, the more options you have for your plays, and people like to have a variety of plays available to them. And so people tend to have more fun playing toolbox decks versus utility decks, but of course there are some exceptions, and sometimes playing utility decks is a lot more fun, depending on the format. And the mirror match, of course, always changes things up in that way. I don't really have a whole lot else to talk to you guys about Toolbox. Just look at some of the decks that you guys play that are possibly Toolbox. I mean, Toolbox spans a wide variety of different decks, not just a very specific set of combo-based decks. Although a lot of combo-based decks are very toolboxy. It's very rare that you see Toolbox or combo utility decks, although there are a couple of those decks. Anyway, so that's what I have to say about Toolbox. You guys should let me know if you guys like Toolbox down below. And then, of course, subscribe for more decks, discussion, analysis, and general Yu-Gi-Oh! Shenanigans. Meanwhile, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. Of course, if you didn't, let me know why in the comment section below. I am always up to constructive criticism. Thank you guys for watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0, and I got a jet. See you guys.